And we're good. All right. Hello, all. I am the Sullivan. I am the destroyer of futures, the ruiner of GPAs, the eater of freshmen, whatever it may be. I'm the ogre. Welcome to my swamp. And PreCalc. It gets a reputation. For as long as PreCalc has existed in the high school, it's had a reputation, no matter what teachers had it. I've had it for the last 6, 7 years. The guy who had it before me, oh boy, kids would actually cry. Like, no notes, no nothing, don't finish it. Grandma died, should have had better priorities. Like, he was, he was something. Um, Nice guy, horrible teacher. But anyway, I am going to bounce all over the place today because we're going to find out really quickly. We got a lot of veterans in here. Y'all have heard this spiel before. There is nothing different about what I'm going to say today. It's just a new class. Okay, so it is what it is. Y'all heard this before. For the non-veterans, welcome to the circus. You're going to find out really quick that I am not formal, not at all, not remotely. I do not subscribe to the ideas of professionalism because professionalism is, shall we say, behavioral compliance to a outdated standard. I'm going to say and do a lot of things that I probably shouldn't. And people are just going to have to deal with it because you got yourself a neurodivergent teacher. I am autistic and ADHD, which means I have the attention span of a ferret on meth. In the middle of a lesson, I'm going to randomly talk to you about Encanto because I saw it 12 times this weekend. I live in Disney hell. We don't talk about Bruno. Um, I listened to it this morning. Of course we did. My kids are 2 and 4, so I really do live in Disney hell. Um, I'm going to get off topic. We're going to reel it back in. I'm going to blurt something out in the middle of a lesson. We're going to reel it back in. I'm going to angrily point at, like the monkey from Family Guy, the kid who intentionally tries to get me off track because they know that this happens. I have a feeling. Okay. Um, I'm going to say and do a lot of things that you normally wouldn't see a teacher do because I am not just neurodivergent, I am unmasked neurodivergent, meaning I'm going to be me. And other people may not like who me is because they're not used to seeing unmasked neurodivergent behavior. As I'm walking around the room, I might stim. Stimming is literally I am regulating my sensory, my nervous system. With sensory stimulation, I might flap my hands. I might thud my chest a little bit. I am horrible at eye contact because I don't need to look at your eyes to have a conversation with you. I need to engage that particular cortex of my brain so that I can have an articulate discussion. I might have filter fails a lot, and it happens. And I say things, maybe I rip on a kid, and I swear that was not personal. It just, you ever have that comment that just, there it goes, and you try to chase it, and it ain't coming back. You said the thing, and the thing has been said. Now we live with the consequences. Okay? But I said I'm also very informal. Throw it back. Years ago, I had a kid, I forget what it was. We used to go back and forth all the time. Ripped him a little bit in class, and he came back with, like, you've seen volleyball or tennis where they don't just volley it back. They just wreck your face, spike it on the kid's nose, like shatters blood guts everywhere. I mean, he burned me bad. And the whole class, just this collective gasp. And they're waiting for me to jump across the desk and like snap his neck or something. And I just, high five, dude, that was awesome. He just, boom, he got me. Okay, I want you to feel comfortable in here. So, those who have been in here before, you can attest. Our Pop-Tart champion over there. Um, in my room, I want you to be comfortable. I do not stand on formality. That means you call me Sullivan, Sully, Ryan, hey you, anything that doesn't involve profanity or have the word Mr. in front of it. Okay, that makes me feel weird. Feels like I'm talking to my grandpa. Okay, so when I say I want you to be comfortable in here, that goes for a lot of different things. I need to bring up, I need some kind of outline here. You. Let's start there. Let's start there. If I did not update anything for today, horribly unprepared, I spent the last 4 days just trying to recover from finals week. So I have to update some stuff on my website, including our class code for Remind, the new plan book link, the new widget for Remind. Like, I've got to go fix those things on the website. So if any of you have tried poking those, they are not accurate right now. But things that you will need to have, if you would please, I need everyone to join at S21. Okay. If there's anyone who has not been on Remind before in the room, raise your hand. Okay. So Remind is pretty prolific right now. I was actually in on the beta for it 14 years ago. A lot of people use it now. So most of us are on there. Now you can have the Remind app. I strongly recommend, because like any messaging app, it will allow better transfer of picture and links. But you don't have to. You can just text if you need to. You can just text the number 81010. Like, that's the number, the phone number. If you just text the number 81010, that code, or use that code in the app, or go to remind.com and you got your account and you log in and you use that as your class code. Okay, but I need everyone to be in Remind at S21 PreCalc. What year is it? I was waiting for who was going to do it. That is not a mathematical error. I will backhand you. I swear. Not yet. Not yet. Okay. At S22 PreCalc, because it is spring 22 semester. At S22 PreCalc is the message you send, or behind the at when you're trying to add a class code, S22 PreCalc. Okay. I need everyone to be in there. Well, you can't. Saw y'all like throwing up gang signs over there. Okay. Vulcan side. Okay. So we all have Remind. That's very good, because you're going to use that for a bunch of different things in here. Number one, most of the time, 95% of the time, I'm going to send out the assignment with a video link for today's lesson on Remind. Okay? If I forget to send that out, do not text me at 9:45 that night asking, did we have homework? Plan book exists. Now, if I haven't sent it out on Remind, you are perfectly justified in asking me, is plan book accurate? Is plan book up to date? Because I haven't sent it out on Remind yet. See, what I do is I copy and paste last semester's PreCalc into this semester's plan book. And sometimes our days are going to be off, or maybe there was a problem I wanted to avoid, or the assignment was too long, or something like that, and I'll change it. So Remind, you get your assignment and a link to the video lesson. If you have questions, you have a tutor in a pocket, use it. Don't just text me, I'm stuck on 43. That does nothing for me. I am nowhere near a textbook. However, if you take a picture of the problem and a picture of your work and send those to me, if I am conscious and not beset upon by my goblins, I will answer. I scribble all over it and send it back to you. I want you to ask questions, the more the better, because the first kid asks me the question, I'm having trouble with number 43, the solutions don't make sense. I sketch it out, I send it. The second kid asks me, I can just send them that same thing. The third kid asks me, now I'm going to sketch out a video, throw it up on YouTube, and send it to the whole class because I know it's a problem. Or I'll say, oh, we should just go over that tomorrow. No one do number 43. The more of you engage, the better your experience in class gets. Okay? So you're going to get assignments on there. You're going to get tutor in a pocket. I'm not joking. I'll have kids who say, well, it was late and I didn't want to text you. Unlike your generation, I know how to turn my phone to silent. It will not ding and wake me up at 1 a.m. because you're finally doing your work. I'll respond around 5:45 in the morning when I'm sitting on the couch with goblin number 1. He's nicely sipping his chocolate milk, watching Encanto for the 12th time. And I got my phone over here and I'm checking messages. I will sketch it out and send it to you. Okay? Never be afraid to ask the question. When I respond is just dictated by life, but as soon as I am able to, I will. Okay? So remind, good. SullivanClasses.weebly.com. Bookmark it. Everything you need for the class is there. That's a direct link to your textbook. It's a link to our Google Drive that has all of our materials for the class. It's got all of my policies. It's got the syllabus. It's got everything. Okay? So you want that bookmarked. With that, basic stuff, 5 classroom events. Okay. Where are we starting? Oh, the classroom. Just how things rolling here. Okay. So if you've been here before, you already know how this works. I'm pretty informal. I do not stand on formality. I do not want to. People got enough problems with math. Okay. Whether people just don't like it, whether they have been conditioned to believe they're bad at it, which is not true. The number of times that I've heard kids say, I'm bad at math. Well, my mom sucked at math too, or something like that. It's not genetic. What happens is somewhere along your educational experience, you tried to do something and it didn't work. And you were made to feel bad about yourself. Who in here has the gifted child syndrome? In Game Club, we call this the gifted to burnout pipeline, where you are told over and over and over how smart you are. You're so smart. You must be a genius. You're so good at math. And there have literally been studies done on this that show when you praise a person's intelligence instead of their effort, they start to equate success with self-worth. And then when they can't do a thing, when they struggle at a thing, when they have to persevere through a thing for the first time, they consider it a personal failing. And they shut down and they freak out. Okay? So, I don't want anyone to feel like that coming into a math class. PreCalc's got that big bad reputation. So maybe you're the good chunk of kids who come up into PreCalc, a lot of them have never had anything less than an A. How many of you have seen an A minus and just crapped your huggies? Okay? Oh no, the world is ending! All of the unhealthy expectations of perfection that I put on myself and my parents reinforce are telling me that I'm not worth it as a human being anymore. No, not like that. Okay? A is absolutely superior. B is good. It's great. It's amazing. C is normal, proficient expectation. And there's a good number of kids who will come into pre-calc terrified for their precious GPA, knowing, oh my God, I might get a B. And that just scares them. I'll have kids who will intentionally not take the class. They'll go take college algebra and stats as their fourth math instead, just because they're afraid of a B. Tell you what, as long as you got like a 3.5 or better, you have access to 99% of all schools and scholarships. GPA does not matter. It really does not matter. ACT matters. ACT and SAT scores are the ones that colleges look at. Also, GPA, our school is weighted. Pre-calc is the last math class you'll take that does not have a weighted grade on it. When you go take trig and calc, those you can take the AP test at the end of them, and it weights your grade on a 5-point scale instead. So if you get a B in a 5-point scale class, it calls it an A 4.0 on the weighted scale. And kids think that that's great and that's dandy, and then they go to college or they start applying for colleges thinking that they've got a 4.0, and then most colleges want us to unweight it when we send over transcripts anyway. So they think they have a 4.0 and then we send it, and because of their AP classes, it turns out they actually have a 3.85. And the kid doesn't understand what happened because no one ever explained that to them. GPAs do not matter. ACT matters. How many kids have a 4.0 but are getting a 23 on their ACT? 21 is often the minimum entrance requirement for four-year universities because it equates with having a 90% probability of getting a C or better in your college freshman classes. You get a 23 on your ACT, that means you're a C student. And we'll have kids with 4.0s getting a 23 and they don't understand why. And it's because GPA does not matter. I also don't believe much in grades in general, but I definitely don't believe in other people's grades because you all know the class where half the class got a 50 on the last test. You have no idea what's going on for the last 3 weeks, but you dressed up for homecoming and you brought in Kleenex, so you have an A. You all know that class. Okay? GPA don't matter. Your test scores do, because those are the ones that get colleges and test companies money. So just chill. I go through all that blah, 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 because A, ferret, meth, rabbit hole. Ooh, shiny. Okay? If you've been in my class before, you know this. In the middle of a lesson, we're going to just randomly talk about something that popped into my head, and then we're going to reel it back in and do more math. Because that's how it goes. I say all that because I really want to stress the informality of the classroom. I want you to be comfortable. I've had kids bring their blanket and they're like a little old granny huddled in the corner, or like they look like freaking Emperor Palpatine in the corner waiting to plot our demise because they're cold. Do it. I had one of the Murray girls sit right here for like 5 straight years. There's like 3 or 4 of them. One of them sat right here, first period, mowing down a bowl of Reese's Puffs while doing pre-calc. Go for it. I want you to be comfortable in here. I got over there. It's the locker cabinet if you want to stash stuff in here. Was it not Ella? Ella was the middle one. It was Olivia. Olivia would stash her box of family-sized Reese's Puffs in that corner, and she'd put her jug, her gallon jug of milk in that corner. She'd have her bowl in there, and every morning she'd go while she's doing math. Go for it. Y'all got the munchies? Game Club appreciates your business. That entire cabinet is full of Pop-Tarts. Throw $1 in the jar, get a Pop-Tart. Okay? Yo. The Fruit Loop ones, like, people are just hating on those. Like, no joke, it's flavors. Flavors, okay? About every 3 weeks, I walk out of Walmart with $150 worth of Pop-Tarts. They look at me weird. They ask if I run a daycare, and I say, oh, kind of. Okay, teenagers are impulsive. It started because I had a kid who was super hungry, got a Pop-Tart out of the cruising line, and they're one per package, and they're the multi-grain ones that just like melt in your mouth and into mush. It's like someone pressed together oatmeal. It just tastes like trash. And I said, well, screw that. I'll give you Pop-Tarts for $1. And then this is how Game Club makes money, and we buy nerd stuff. Okay. So, oh, and we do Donut Fridays. I got a standing order at Safeway to get donuts on Fridays. Um, I want you to be comfortable in here. If who's got block one open? Who are the chosen ones? Just Caitlin? Okay. Y'all, my kids who come in right after lunch, they really love it because that means they get to drive all the way across town to Culver's so they can get the good chicken strips. And then come back here and they can just mow down their chicken strips and their concrete mixer while learning algebra. I don't care. Have fun. Okay. There it is, right at the beginning. If you're hungry, eat. Thirsty, drink. If you feel like spiking it with something a little stronger, don't do that. Got to go to the bathroom. Don't raise your hand and ask me. I'm pretty sure you know the status of your own bladder. Go. Okay? You do not have to ask. Would I recommend a little bit of self-regulation? Maybe leave your phone here so that you aren't in the bathroom watching Netflix? Yes. Will I require it? No. You're human beings. Why should I dictate what you get to do and don't get to do, as long as it's not a distraction to everyone else? Okay? So get comfy. Relaxed. Um, Fridge, microwave, cabinet, if you want to stash stuff in here, if you want to just... In the middle of class, I will be teaching about conic sections, and you will see a random kid that I haven't even seen in 2 years come in and microwave a bag of popcorn. Okay, I don't care. I'll have random seniors who have their free block right now. They'll come in, flop on that couch, throw the blanket over themselves, and not move for the next 90 minutes. Go for it. You should be relaxed in this environment. This idea of suppressing human behavior to conform to a certain standard really irritates me. And that is part of being, when I say, a neurodivergent safe space. I'm going to act a certain way because I know that's what my body needs. That's how I regulate myself. I want to point out right now, every single one of you in this room, where's my foot bouncers and knee tappers? Where's my nail pickers? Where's my hair chewers? How many of you, particularly the ladies, have been told, sit still, stop that, you're going to ruin your nails. What are you doing to your hair? Stop that, stop that, stop that. It is literally what your brain, your neurochemistry, and your body, your nervous system are asking you to do. So do it. That's also why I have a giant bucket of fidgets over there. Use them. Okay? You will see me walking around the room. Maybe I'm stimming. Maybe I'm fidgeting. Maybe as you're all doing your problems, I'm coming around with this. Maybe I decide I'm going to be entertaining that day and just, bam, get Ava. I don't know. No, I won't do that. Well, yeah, actually I might. I want you to be comfortable with yourself and your body. Okay? If your fingers need to move so that you can focus what's going on in your head, do it. I'm trash at eye contact because I need to engage that cortex so that I can focus on my conversation. I want you to have that same freedom. I can always tell when there's a chemistry test because I get a conga line coming down here in class to borrow calculators and take fidgets. Be my guest. Okay? Particularly if any of that is starting to strike a chord, if you hear those words of, I've always been told not to do a thing, but it just bothers me. If you've ever been talking to certain people and you can't articulate why, but they just get me. I can just be myself around that person. Well, they don't make fun of me for doing X. You might be one of us. It is far more common than people are willing to acknowledge because of masking behaviors, because of social expectations. I would be more than happy to talk to you about that. Lead to your journey of self-discovery. Far more than you know. Talking about discrete uh, tactile input, discrete fidgets for different classes. Also, if there's anyone who that's your jam, if you maybe on a 504, an IEP for ADHD, if you're autistic, if anything under the neurodivergent umbrella, Tourette's, schizophrenic, bipolar, dyslexic, dyscalculic, probably not if you're in here, but maybe. Come talk to me. I love going to students' meetings and advocating for them very angrily when other people won't stand up for them. Basics. I say dignity shouldn't cost money. For anyone who is in need of feminine products, cabinet freebies. Anyone who misses breakfast in the morning, your gut is screaming at you. Food in the cabinet. Anyone who misses lunch because even though lunch is free out there, you didn't want to go eat the thing because it just didn't fit your palate that day. You were going to puke if you ate it. Or maybe I don't want to see this person because if I do, I'm going to shank them. Whatever it is, if you have need of something, I have food and hygiene products in that cabinet back there behind Bailey that says freebies. Whether you're in my class or not, come take them. That stuff should all be free for access anyway. I hate that we still don't have anything in the girls' bathrooms. That is so sexist. Um, when I say my house is your house, I really mean it. Come in here. If my room is open, come in. Use it for whatever you need. Spartan time. I would say that this is a quiet place that you can get work done. That's not true because my nerds come down there and they're rowdy. They're loud. But if you just need a place to hang out, I'll have kids I don't even know show up during lunch and just sit in the corner. Just throw on their headphones, watch Netflix, and be away from other humans. Okay, go for it. Like this is a typical just one of my lunches. This is actually the day before shutdown. This is just a typical lunch. I got more kids in here during lunch than this class most days. So when I say my house is your house, I mean it. My rules are simple. They are three. One, we live in South Dakota. It needs to be addressed. Basic human rights are not optional. They are not up for debate. You don't get to decide what another person is and isn't. That means if I hear anything that is racist, that is homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, if I hear any bigotry of any kind, if I hear misinformation, if you are trying to tell another person who they are or are not, that includes words, honoring their chosen name and pronouns. If you can't do that because you feel that your right to dictate another person's worth is greater than their own choices, we're going to have problems. I will nicely kick you out of my room. You can take your hate elsewhere. If you believe that so strongly, keep it to yourself so we don't have problems and we can focus on the math. Okay? You will respect each other. Pure and simple. 2, you notice like I've got all the lights in the front. I literally removed the light bulbs because this is too bright. For the majority of the year, this is the only day that I'm going to have this not inverted in colors because it's too bright for me. I have a pounding headache right now just from being next to this thing. Okay? All of these sensory overload stimuli, they really do affect me. And that might include, I just want you to respect that. That might include probably not noise volume. I'm a fairly loud person myself, but certain sounds. Like I'll have kids who maybe plug in your iPhone charger or something in the back. I might tell you, you need to unplug that. It's screaming at me. because I can hear the capacitor in it, and it's giving me a headache. If there's someone who's got morning practice, anyone, any athletes, particularly our basketball kids, morning weights, PE first block, or maybe you just have that idea that if I hose myself down in enough sauce, it's going to attract a mate, because that's what the commercial told me. Any of that kind of stuff, it really bothers me. Not only sensory wise, like it'll make my eyes water, but I'm also a double med asthmatic. I might just kick you out of class. It is nothing personal. It is my own safety. I'm just kicking you out because, bruh, I thought we weeded that out in middle school. Dang, like, that stanks. Okay, if you're the cloud, I might ask you to leave. Okay, 100% not personal. It is just, look, I need to do the thing. Like, when I give you an example of how bad it is, I say I'm double med asthmatic. Normally, if I have my control meds in the morning, I'm fine. I might use a rescue inhaler once a month. Y'all remember the smoke this summer? Okay, when half the country was on fire? I was using a rescue inhaler 6 to 7 times a day to be able to breathe. So imagine what that cloud around you is doing to me. Imagine what a respiratory virus would do to me. Okay? Last year was the most miserable of my career. I was the only person in the school district with a mask mandate. Like, not mincing words, I was a raging asshole, and I deserved that. I deserved that reputation because I was mean last year. I hated everything because everyone around me was actively threatening my survival and not caring. Even right now, we have more daily cases nationwide of a fourth major strain of COVID than any other time in the pandemic. Our school has zero precautions. The only reason that I'm not enforcing that this year and that I haven't quit yet is because my kid's in preschool and I'm just screwed, and no matter what. If y'all know how little kids operate, one of them gets it, they all get it. There are no precaution-based pre-K programs in West River. I checked. So when it comes to the sensory thing, if I have to kick you out, it is not personal. It is just my health and safety. Okay. Third one, show respect to yourself. I say respect other people. I also want you to respect yourself. And that includes the self-depreciating comments. Alexis, I'm looking at you. When I hear the words, well, I'm just dumb. When I hear the words, oh God, I'm so stupid. Yeah, that's right. Laser beam eyeballs. You look away. Okay. When I hear you bagging on yourself, that is my student you're talking about. Knock it off. Be kind to yourself. Don't mock someone because they asked a question. Someone asked a question. Let them ask the question. I want this to be a place where you can safely ask a question. I want you to feel like your entire self-worth is not tied to being perfect. So please be kind to yourself as well as other people. That's it. 3 things. Basically, be a decent human being and don't make me gag on my own lungs. If you do those things, you're fine. I will treat you like an adult until you show me I can't. Just grab the whole thing out of there. Come on. Rylan put a bunch of little ones that got beads in there. They're like the little ball puzzles where the ball hops into the little hole. And no? Maybe seen that at great grandma's house. Okay. So, classroom environment. The class itself. Oh, when I talk about our class page and everything being on there. 1, you all know about the extension Going to Clever. 2, I got a direct link for the book right there. If you're logged in, it'll just send you straight there. 3, if you're coming straight out of Algebra 2, A, you are in the perfect academic position for this class. B, Pearson realize the online version of our other math textbooks is trash. It takes like 19 things clicking through to get to where you need to go, which is why most kids didn't use it. I agree with that. It's because it's not a supported format anymore. That book publisher has moved on to a different online format. They're just keeping that one alive until the last textbooks are dead. So our online textbook is better than that. Where's my juniors at? I'm pretty sure the chemistry textbook is on McGraw-Hill, Connect Ed. You should all have access to that right now because Clever connects your login through campus. So just being in the class should already have you in the book. Okay? So if you would prefer to use that, take this textbook, bring it home, slide it under a table or something, bring it back in May. I just want you to have something at home for if the Wi-Fi dies. But our online textbook is better than the Pearson one, so don't be afraid to use it. I know I hated the Pearson one. So our online textbook is there. I said I have to update the widget, but anything that I send out to the class as a whole on Remind, it shows up here. Okay? I sent out the schedule this morning and a GIF of Louisa twitching because why not? I have kids send me random memes on Remind all the time. Our grades from this weekend, like our assignments, the links for the videos, anything that I send out to the entire class goes there. If you send anything to me directly, that is private. You don't have to worry about anyone else seeing it. Our Google Drive link, you're really going to want that one. All of your materials for the entire class. That includes solutions. Where's my athletes at? Who's in sports? Okay. I don't know if golf counts, but don't count cheerleading. Our cheerleading is rah-rah cheerleading, not like competitive tumble jump, ninja flip in air cheerleading. Y'all know Hell Week, right? The beginning of the season when everyone's just dragging, when at least 2 kids are puking that week in practice. Like, it's rough. Would you want that week to be on your season record? Okay? Why should your practice be a part of your record? Shouldn't, right? You're learning stuff. You're figuring things out. I believe the same about work. Homework should not be, anyone who's ever told you don't do pre-calc because it's a bunch of extra work, my assignments are like 5 to 8 problems a night. That's it. If you are distraction free, they should take you 15, 20 minutes. If you are slower, maybe 20, 25. If it takes you 30 plus minutes on a regular basis, you need to come talk to me. Because A, maybe I can modify your specific assignment and say, all right, don't do these 2. Or B, I might have just screwed up when I made the assignment. I aim for about that 15 to 20 minute mark. Sometimes I miss. Last semester, there was one in pre-calc. I just plain forgot. It said 11 problems. I was like, you know what? We did a lot of different stuff. It's probably okay. It ended up being like a 90-minute assignment. I should have caught that. That was my fault. I would want everyone to say that. If it's taking 30 plus minutes for you to do a thing, tell me. I will fix it. If you are doing an assignment and you're like, okay, I've been at this for 45, 50 minutes and I still have problems to go, text me. Say, I'm almost at an hour and I still have 4 left. I don't know if I can do this. And I'll say, then quit. Don't do it. I'll check out the assignment, make sure that it was a reasonable length. If it's a this ain't clicking for you thing, I want you to come in, we'll work on it together instead. You have a life outside of this building, go live it. I hate classes that say, just because this is a tough class, I need to give you an hour and a half of homework every night. That's not teaching anything besides compliance. And think about that. Think about that in terms of grades. How often do you do something in a class? How often was something in your grade based on a thing that has nothing to do with the content? Compliance and attendance. You're out for 2 weeks because you got sick. Dad got sick. I'm on COVID quarantine. You come back and you have a bunch of zeros in the grade book and they expect everything to be done right now. In the famous words of Damon Wayans, homie, don't play that. Okay? I don't do that. There are no due dates in my class. For 3 weeks, I will leave it a blank in the grade book. After 3 weeks, if you have not come talk to me about it yet, I'll put it in as a missing. I will still take it all the way to the end. Last week sucked because I had a lot of freshmen who decided to turn things in from September in January, thinking that it would move the needle. Guess what? Your quizzes sucked because you didn't do the work. Turning in the work now is going to move the needle exactly 1.2%. You're at a 48. It's not going to happen, but I still take it. No due dates. Life happens. How many times have you gotten on a bus at 9:30 at night and you're like, crap, I'm going to get home at like 11 and I still have my pre-calc work, I got chemistry, I got this, I got that. Text me and say, yo, we're just getting on the bus. I'm probably not doing math tonight. Okay, cool. It happens. All you got to do is talk to me, and I'm 100% flexible with that. I expect you to do the same with me. Sometimes I get extremely overwhelmed, executive dysfunction, go brr. Okay, I will just see the pile getting bigger and not want to do it, and I don't grade something for 3 weeks. Sorry. I expect you to be a little lenient with that because I'm going to do the same with you. I had kids who was it? Our two wrestling champs, literally, our state champs. Y'all know Taylor and Mariah? They both got first place this weekend, just wrecked it. Beast mode. Right before break, they had a big wrestling tournament. And they had missed a couple of days. So I think one was out sick. They had a wrestling thing, and then there was another big tournament, and they're worried about getting stuff in. I said, hey, you know, this unit we're doing, this quiz right now, has nothing to do with the stuff that's right after break. Don't do it. Don't do it. Get your other class stuff done. Focus on your match this weekend. You got a 2-week break. Do what you can during then. Text me if you have questions. I'll have you do the quiz in 3 weeks when you're ready. I will play ball with you if you just talk to me. Okay? So along that venue, I said we got our Google Drive link with all of the materials. When I say all of the materials, I do mean it. That includes your solutions. There you go. Frank, let's go. What the bejeebus is it? That's like an ancient thing. There we go. Okay. There you go. Those are the solutions for your homework tomorrow. Not just the answers, the solutions. How do I get the answer worked out? That's your first stop. If you're doing an assignment, my plan is to do buzzer to buzzer as much possible stuff in class. I want to give you as many examples, as many practice problems as possible in class, because I want you to, basically, this is the time you should be learning. Your assignment should be small, concise. If you know what you're doing, you're done in 20 minutes. Done. This was just a little bit of independent practice, usually one of each type of example, and done. I want you to come here and check to make sure that you're doing them correctly. You go there, you check, you're still wrong, and I don't know why they have this I squared on this side. Isn't that supposed to be just I to the first? Take a picture of it, send it to me. Yo, are the solutions wrong? Because there's more errors with this solution manual than there are with our Pearson series. I'm pretty sure that the grad students they farm out the solution manuals to were just hung over or didn't care because there's at least one error in every section. Um, but take the thing and say, yo, I still don't know why this is wrong. Okay? I'm put you on blast. Ava, my God, the questions you ask, just right to the teacher's warm fuzzies right there. Okay? I don't expect blood, sweat, and tears math. But when you come in for just 5 minutes before school starts, here's the binder. Flomp. Okay, I checked the solutions, and number 42 said that it was supposed to be I squared instead of I to the fourth. Is that right? Well, it's because there was a negative in front of it. Oh, okay. Flomp. What about number 62? And when I do this, in and out of my room in 5 minutes with the most detailed questions that I've ever heard. It doesn't have to be blood, sweat, and tears math. I just want you to use your resources beforehand. Just check, just ask. Photo math that stuff, if it does it. We're at PreCalc, it might not. Okay? I want you to use this stuff because your homework and your notes are not worth that much of the grade. They're completion only. Just like, did you show up to practice? Okay, cool, you get to go play in the game. For our class, your final is worth only 10% of the grade. It's not much. It's a border buster. Okay, you're sitting on the border, do good on the final. 10% of your grade. Is your homework and notes combined, and it's only completion. Did you do what you were supposed to learn stuff? 10% of your grade. Daily quizzes. Every day you come in at the beginning class, I'm going to have 1 or 2 problems up at the beginning, up at the board here with middle of the road. This is what we did yesterday. Do you understand? We did 90 minutes of stuff yesterday. You had 15 to 20 minutes of independent practice. You come in at the beginning class. Okay, do I know how to do that? You score it yourself. I tell you how to score it, something out of 5. For our veterans in here, pretty common, 4 or 5 out of 5. If you hit a 3 out of 5, you done screwed up. Something's wrong, you need to ask questions. 2 out of 5, I screwed up hard and I don't even know where. I need to come in during Spartan time, or I need to come in before school, after school, lunch. My prep is white 3, whatever, and get some extra practice in. Something ain't right. 1, you have math. You tried it. There's numbers that kind of look like math. Good job. Okay, you do a daily quiz. You score it yourself. Be honest on them. It really sucks to do to have that conversation with your parents. They say, "Well, all of their assignments and all of their daily quizzes and everything, they all say that they're 100%. Why are they getting a 72 on your test?" Let's have a talk. That's completion. All the solutions are online. They can just copy it. The daily quizzes are self-scored. They can just write down the answers as I'm going through them and pretend they got a 5. There might be a disconnect in what they're telling you. And then they do the... I actually had a kid at conferences in the fall, sat between his 2 parents, and I laid all of this out for the parents, and they both just... And you swear he spontaneously combusted from the laser beams. You don't want to have that conversation. Just be honest with yourself. The part that freaks out kids who have not been in here before is 70% is your tests. Okay? And when I say freak out, I mean Logan Brewer's face right now. Okay? Oh, like just can't see it? Okay. Better? Okay. Sorry. I'm used to yellow being fine because I invert the colors, right? So 70% of your grade is your tests. There's no big unit test in here. There's no big haymaker to your grade. You all know that one where you don't do an assessment for like 3 weeks straight. You hit the end of the chapter and then here comes chemistry test. And now all of a sudden you went from like having an A to a C minus. That doesn't happen in here. 5 days of instruction, review quiz. 5 days of instruction, review quiz. All semester long. Turns out it takes the exact same amount of time as it would to have a full day of review before big tests. You're never going to have the big haymaker to the grade. You're never going to come in surprised at something happening. If that happens, it's because I put 3 weeks worth of stuff in at once and you did bad for 3 weeks straight and you didn't understand that for 3 weeks straight you weren't understanding it. I'm thinking somewhere along the way you understood that this ain't going well. Okay? You will never get that big surprise haymaker to the grade. Now, 70%, a lot of kids who haven't been in here before are going to freak out hearing that number. Like, so wait. 70% is tests, 10% is finals, 10% is a daily quiz that I do in class. 90% of my grade is an assessment taken in class. Mess huggies. Right on Hainsley's face, right? Let's alleviate that concern a little bit. The veterans know what's up. 1, this is the grand total of the last 6 years of PreCalc grades. Or 5, because I don't have this year's in there. Pretty well a left skew bell curve on B. This is last year when I changed up some of my grading policies, trying to eliminate as much stress as possible from the classroom. This is last semester. Show up, do what you're supposed to, ask questions. Pretty hard to get below a C in here. Really hard to get below a C in here unless you just don't give a flying... Yeah. Now, of those of you who are looking at that and like, I've never had a B before. My life will be ruined. Okay. Bring back some other stuff. Nope, not you. You. Said that all of that weight is on your quizzes and tests. There's your review that we do right before it. There's your test. So we're going to do 5 days of instruction. After those 5 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of instruction. I pick one problem from each day of instruction. And then I say, hey, y'all remember what we did on Tuesday? Cool. Y'all remember what we did on Wednesday? Cool. We go through it. Hey, y'all remember what we did 2 months ago? Doesn't matter. I'm going to review it right now anyway. We got to keep that stuff fresh. And then I hand you the quiz that looks just like it with different numbers. Not bad, right? Everyone else is like, here comes the punchline. It's like the meme where everyone's looking at Bart saying, say the line, say the line, say the line. Ay caramba. Yay! Okay. Not only do we review it right before you do it, all of my assessments of every kind are open notes. Open everything. Number 4 is solving an ambiguous case law of signs triangle. We have to remember, this is from like a month ago in PreCalc. You probably don't remember law of sines from geometry, much less the ambiguous case, because I guarantee it was never taught to you. You remember the all of the congruence and similarity theorems? Remember hearing about there is no ass in geometry unless it's the right ass? I know Mr. Keeler was fond of that line. Okay, you can't do angle side side, right? Angle side side congruence doesn't exist. It doesn't exist because there's an ambiguous case where there might be two triangles. Maybe I write next to number 4 on the review as we're going through it, watch out for second triangle. Telling yourself how to do number 4 on the quiz 20 minutes later. And it's open notes, open everything. I dare you in here right now, who knows grandma's phone number? Of course you do. You're the paladin, of course you know. Okay? I don't know my grandpa's number. I call him every Tuesday. I'm calling him tonight. I have every year for like 8 years now. Or every Tuesday for 8 years straight. I don't know his number. My phone does. Real functional adults look stuff up. If you've ever been in a class that has you memorize stuff, time after time after time after time after time, if it's something I can Google, it shouldn't be an assessment. I will do that exactly once to you in this class. I'll have you fill out a unit circle with no notes, because it is 100% critical moving on to trigonometry that you know it. Forwards and backwards. If you know special right triangles, the whole thing is just made of special right triangles. If you know these 5 bits of information, you know the entire circle. You just have to construct it. And I know that Mr. Spear does not allow you the unit circle for notes on his assessments because, for crap's sake, this is the 3rd class you've had this. You should know this. Kind of like you should know how to factor a quadratic being in this room, right? Okay, that's it. I believe that everyone should have access to every bit of information they need to be successful. So open notes, open everything. We review it right before we do it. All semester long. Those are your tests. That is 80% of your, 90% of your grade. So when we hit that, you cannot tell me that you were not fully supported. Open notes, open everything, reviewed it right before you did it. Your final, I give you a review that looks just like the final that you get to use on your final. Telling yourself how to do number 15 on your final. Like, what else can I do? All right, it's either you can do it or you can't. Do you have to look something up? Do you have to have this note next to it? Do you need to write step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6 to doing the problem? Go for it. You think I can make my grandma's pumpkin pie recipe without having the recipe right in front of me? No, I gotta look it up. I want you to do the same. Okay? Open notes, open everything. So, 5 days of instruction, 1 day review quiz, repeat all semester long. You should have about 11 to 13 total quizzes, tests in your gradebook. If you don't like your grade, what are you going to do to change it? Ask questions. Extra credit is profanity in my room. It's artificial grade inflation. When you come to me at the end of the semester after the grades are posted and say, well, I have an A-, what can I do to bring that up? Invent time travel? Like, did you ask questions about your review at all? Did you say, well, I know this well enough, and not write anything next to it on the review you got to use on the final? Was there ever a week of assignments that you just didn't do? Would that have moved the needle? Yes. Did you do it? No. All right. Okay. Review, open notes. I said no due dates. After 3 weeks, if you have not come to talk to me about it, I'll put them in as missings. I will still take them all the way until the end of the semester. Okay? I had a gentleman from our Algebra 2 just last semester who turned in stuff from September last week. All right, I'll do it. I'll put it in. Because life happens. Sometimes you're not able to get it done during a certain time. That also goes for if you're gone, if you're sick, if you're out for a while. The first thing that when you get that text from me is, hey, I'm out, I'm going to be gone for 3 days, or I'm going to be gone for a week, or I'm sick, or I broke my leg, or whatever it is. The first thing you're going to hear from me is, put my class on the back burner, take care of the other classes first. All of this is being live streamed right now. My classes, no, not you, you. Hit that like, smash that bell, join us on Patreon. I am live. This is us, okay? If you miss class, you can watch this instead. It's on about a 10-second delay, okay? If you are gone for any reason, I know that you can go look up my class and watch this specific class and what I'm saying right now in class anytime that you need to. Again, where's my juniors? I heard you talking about, was it chemistry second semester? Y'all, chemistry second semester is like that big old clown hammer right up in your face, okay? I have had kids come in, and because all of my stuff is live streamed, because they know they can do this tonight at 8 o'clock, maybe they're in here, but they're working on their U.S. history project that's due after lunch. Sometimes triage. Sometimes you just got to do it. I'm okay with that. I've had kids come to me and say, can I just watch the video tonight because I have to do an English presentation after lunch and I'm really freaking out about it. Okay, go down to the library, get a quiet space, get it done. I know you'll do it. Because in math, you all know that if you just zone out for 10 minutes in class, the rest of the class, don't you feel like you're chasing the bus? Like, I can follow what's going on, but I can see the bus, but I'm not in it. Okay? So what happens when you miss an entire day in math? What happens when you miss 4 days in math? Right? It's the scaffold, but it's all on one peg leg. It's like the giant Jenga tower and there's one block at the bottom. If you miss that thing, if you don't do the thing, well, then nothing else is going to make sense. I trust you to get it done eventually because I know you have to. If you don't do it, you're not going to get it. I'll let you be the adult and decide when you need to do that, because sometimes you got to prioritize what needs to be done right now. Okay? So, final, no due dates, 5 blocks of the stream. Okay, I said no extra credit. You come to me, it's getting close to Spartan time, and you're like, oh crap, I'm at a D. I've never seen this before. I'm losing my mind. I need to get out of Spartan time. My job isn't to get you out of Spartan time. Okay? If you're getting out of Spartan time is the privilege, not the expectation. It's not a punishment to stay. It's a privilege to go. Let's say you're getting really close to a grading period. Your parents are going to flip out on you because you have a C. What can I do to get my grade up? Invent time travel. Okay? What are you doing to change that? Now, sometimes you are a good student. You do everything you're supposed to. You're coming in and you're asking questions. You're sending questions on Remind. You do all the work. You're 100% completion on everything. It's just, I keep making these little dumb mistakes on the test and negatives. Y'all know when you miss that negative, like step 1, the rest of the problem just craps out after that. I call that a 4 out of 5. It's the domino effect. You still did everything correctly based on incorrect information. Okay? What if I spent the rest of the semester under the impression that your name is Louisa? I don't know, you look buff. Maybe you move mountains, right? Okay. God, I've watched it 12 times this weekend. Was I still treating you accordingly? Was I still being respectful? Was I still saying, Louisa, would you like to do this? Was I still doing all of that based on incorrect information? Yeah. I did what I was supposed to based on incorrect information. I did the right thing based on the wrong information. We invaded a country based on a lie. Let's be honest. Okay. Oh, if you ever go through a hardcore history, it's a really good podcast, and they go deep depth on how we were actually given incorrect information from an Iranian source that led to, who was it? Not Cheney. The guy who just died. Colin Powell. Colin Powell. Colin Powell specifically wanted us to not invade Iraq, and he cautioned against it and used a specific source to cite, well, if you have to, then you need to do this instead. That source was straight made up. They made the right decision based on incorrect information. If you do that on an assessment, I am perfectly fine with that being 4 out of 5 because you did the right process. You just squared like a freshman on step 1. It happens. Okay? So for the one who is doing everything they're supposed to, but it didn't end up the way you wanted. What happens when you're going into the final? You're sitting at 89%. You've never seen a B on a transcript before. You're freaking out. Oh no, what's going to happen? Well, did you have less than 10 absences for the semester? Remember, COVID quarantine doesn't count against that. School activities don't count against that. Where's my debate kids? Drama kids, band kids, right? Track. Ooh, where's my track kids? Okay, NIDA's really good. Was it NIDA and work, I think, make the schedule? I'm pretty sure NIDA's main coach, right? Head coach? Okay, really good about making sure that kids never miss more than 1 day in a week for track meets. But if you're gone for a school activity, you're still where you're supposed to be. You're just not in this room. Less than 10 absences. Have you done 80% or more of your notes and homework? Are you doing what you're supposed to? I say 80% because I'll have kids who have all of the notes perfect, but maybe they work a full-time job outside of school. Doing homework just isn't an option. 80% or better homework and note completion. Less than 10 absences. You get a higher grade on the final than your grade going into the final. That's your new grade. The Good Samaritan option. The idea is, I don't believe in extra credit, but I do believe if you can show me on a later assessment you understand it to a higher degree proficiency, that should be your grade. How many of you have ever had something just, this does not make sense, this is absolute trash, I don't get it, and then 3 weeks later you're like, oh. And then you go back and look at that test that you got a 62 on, and you read the questions again, you're like, oh man. Okay, I see the matrix now. I understand. If you can show me on the final that you understand it to a higher degree of proficiency, that is your new grade. Okay. The prime example that I use for this, Toby Kinslow, a couple years ago, graduated. He's long gone. That was the exact situation. Very smart kid. Struggled at the beginning of the semester. Everything clicked midway through. Coming in, I think he had like a 89, 90. Had never seen anything below a 98 in his life. Losing his mind. Aced the final. Congratulations, you have 100% for the class. And you could hear him screaming like one of Gru's minions all the way out into the commons. And I swear he was doing cartwheels the whole way. I could hear him in the commons screaming, I got 100! All the way out into the parking lot. Yes, you showed me that you understand it with 100% proficiency. Why shouldn't that be your grade? So I offer the same thing to you. I'm going to say all this again in May, and half of you are going to forget that I said this at all. I hope that's not the case, but there it is. Grade replacement. Okay. So that's all the, I think, important stuff. I really hate day one. Day one is just me blathering, blah, 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 blah. My wife says, but you like talking. She's not wrong, but I don't like being called out like that. What else? Oh, phones. I ain't the phone Nazi. I ain't going to be like that. I said, I want you to be comfortable in here. I'm going to be I treat you like an adult until you show me I can't. Until you show me I can't, right? Sometimes we're going to have to take away the toys because you showed me I can't trust you. Sometimes I'm going to say, no, you can't go to the bathroom whenever you feel like because you disappear every class for 15 minutes. And you come back with really glassy eyes. Okay? Sometimes I'm going to have to take that away, but for the most part, no. You do you. Make your choices. If you want to be sitting there on your phone the entire time during class, go for it. And then when it comes time for the assessment and you're at a D, that first grading period, I'm going to put in the comment section, get off your phone and this will improve. I'm going to make sure that your parents know why. Okay? But I will let you make that choice. In a few short years, you're all going to be in college. Well, not all of you. Right? Some you don't have to. That narrative that pushes everyone into four-year universities is terrible. I'll go on a rant a couple of times a semester about how tech schools should be the norm. In a few short years, most of you are going to be in a lecture hall freshman year. Your laptop here, your phone here, Mountain Dew, Pop-Tarts, your friend sitting next to you, you're both hungover from last night, and there's some 70-year-old dude who just will not retire up front that stopped caring 2 decades ago. And somehow you have to manage that. How are you going to manage that distraction if I take your phone away and put it in a little cubby every day? How are you going to learn appropriate use if I don't model that for you? Y'all, if I'm walking around the room, like it's a catch and release class. I do the thing, I show you the thing, we ask some questions, I say, okay, I want you to try number 1 and 2, and then I'm walking around the room so I can make sure, are we doing it okay? Do we have a question on this specific thing? Can I, yep, okay, do that. Do we have a question over here? I want to work with you. I want to spend my time working with kids, not pushing around papers. We do all of that. Well, what happens when I'm over here working with these two because it's just not clicking? Maybe you four are all having a great conversation about a thing, but you two are back here like, I was done 3 minutes ago. What's taking so long? By all means, pull that out, get those streaks. Okay? Fine by me. Did you do the thing you were supposed to? Were you paying attention while we were going through stuff up here? Okay, you did what you were supposed to. Why not? I had a kid last semester who was playing like Tecmo Bowl or something on his phone. I don't know, some football game. I don't know, Rylan, whatever he was playing, right? Retro Bowl, okay? Before I had kids, I used to play Clash of Clans competitively. I would randomly raid a kid's village in the middle of class because it was hilarious. All right. I am not going to be the guy that takes away the phones. I am going to be the guy that tells you you're on it too much. You complain about having low scores. This is why. Put it away, lock it in. And then I'll let you make a decision. Okay? Bunch of stuff. Seating, attendance. There's no seating chart. Oh, I am going to ask though, just because not all of you are veterans of Algebra 2, when you come in tomorrow, pick your spot. Don't move for a month. I just got to make sure I know everyone. Okay. It'll be easier in this class because I have had probably a third or half of you before. But just stay where you are for a while. After that, I'm not about the seating chart unless you force me to separate you from someone. I really dislike that. I don't want to bring back the island of shame. Just be mature about it. What else? Miss class, everything's on YouTube. I cannot stress enough. All you got to do is ask. Just ask, and it will probably be done. Speak up. I see an awful lot of double X chromosome in the room. Our entire culture is very sexist and male dominated. It is not uncommon for guys to speak because they're used to being listened to, while the 4 girls over here who had the exact same thing to say won't say it because they're used to being shouted down or dismissed. Speak up. Everyone's voice matters. Say what's on your mind. And that goes for if I'm doing something wrong in class. I'm saying it and it's just not making sense. I'm going too fast. I gave you the assignment before we were ready. Say it. Speak up. If you're not comfortable speaking up in class, that's what Remind is for. I have Remind open on my computer right now. As you all are working on a problem, I will do my laps and I'll come back here and I'll double check things. It's not uncommon that I have a kid in class right then and there who texts me something they're just not comfortable saying. Okay, do it. So, I hate day 1. I really do. Especially the veterans. Talk to me. What did I miss? Oh, for sure. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna go. Yeah, you're gonna go there. All right. Where's pink? Can I have the pink marker behind you, please? No, I want the pink one. Get wrecked, dude. Thank you. See, that's considerate handing it to me. I am incredibly uncoordinated. I would have dropped that in a heartbeat. Second period pre-calc. If you've ever had work or McCreary before, they stole this from me. I've been doing it for 15 years. All right. I had a hard argument with last hour. Normally a class this size in pre-calc, I start at 25. Be gentle. We'll start at 20. Okay. Brownie points are, I make a mistake, mathematical mistake, and you see it before I do, you call me out. Brownie point. If I say it verbally, okay, I try to keep the brain going. Sometimes y'all start a problem and I'll just do it in my head real quick and write the answer next to it. Question mark. You don't get to call brownie point on I just did a 9-step problem in my head and you haven't written it down yet. Okay? But you see a mathematical error, you play the game, you get the brownie point. You've all had the teacher who makes the mistake and then they say, you call them out on it and they're like, oh, I was just seeing if you're paying attention. They are lying. They are lying so bad. Y'all, I'm autistic. I believe in speaking directly. I believe in brutal honesty. I don't want to play the white lie game. If you call me on it, I'm going to say it. Yep, you got me. Brownie point. Cap of 3 a day, because you all know the evil leprechaun that lives on your shoulder? The one that tells you that you're worthless and you're screwing things up and you can't do anything right? I made a mistake. Moron. I make another mistake. God, you're stupid. You make a third mistake. You gotta quit at life. And it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse. And then by the end of the day, You knock over your water bottle reaching for your notebook, and you start crying because life. Okay? That particular evil leprechaun is, I hate him. And I found that if I cut the brownie points off at 3 a day, it helps me reset. But if I let it go past that, then it's just one after another, after another, after another, and then I'm in my own head. Okay, our athletes, you know what this is, where you're just in your own head. You could have the perfect technique, you could have the perfect skills, but you are just not in the right headspace, so you're going to quit. You saw that with, was it the Olympics this summer? Simone Biles. And a lot of people were bagging on her. Do you know how much pressure she's under? She made the right move, and she should have made that move years ago of saying, I'm going to sit this one out. Okay, so I do the same thing with brownie points. But yes, y'all, when you hit 20, you get food. My wife knows how to cook. My boys love baking. I will text her in the middle of class, yeah, they got their brownies. And she will send me a picture an hour later of my 2-year-old licking beaters. Okay, they don't go back in the brownies, you're fine. Okay, yeah, so that's the thing. Some of you might end up on the list of shame. Okay, it's a way to laugh at ourselves. See, sometimes you get that kid who says a thing that just makes everyone face palm. You get that kid who won't shut up. You get that kid who, I don't know, they always say the thing and it makes the entire back table groan. List of shame it is. After so many, you're going to bring in food for the rest of your classmates for putting up with your shenanigans. It's a joke. You don't have to do it. It's a way for us to laugh at ourselves. I've had kids put me up there myself. I had a girl who couldn't see purple, like her eyes. She literally could not see purple. So if I ever grabbed the marker and wrote in purple up here, she couldn't see it. So I put myself up there as purple putts. Every time I wrote something in purple, I had to put a point next to it. I brought a lot of extra food that semester. Okay? It's just something to laugh at ourselves. Everyone's on Remind? Because you do have a homework assignment today. Your homework assignment is, I will be sending out on Remind a little quiz. It's the Color Pie quiz, okay? I'm a dork. I run Game Club. And the Color Pie quiz, it's related to, Color Pie is about personality theory, and it's been used in a lot of game design. It's a bunch of words, and you just tell me how strongly you identify with that word. If you don't have a big vocabulary, you should have a dictionary app open. Poke the buttons. Send me a screenshot of your results. That's your homework assignment. I say that because I want, this way it makes sure that everyone is on Remind. It makes sure everyone can send me a picture on Remind. And now I have proof that you can ask questions on your homework. Okay? It is actually an assignment. I will put it on the first assignment grade. And it is completion only.
Yeah, it's so many notes. I have like I still have three.
Oh, if anyone was in Algebra 2 last semester with me, I have all of your tests and your final